Oh, we have a caller.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
There we go. Hey there. You're live on our stream. What's your name?
Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. I'm
Hi.
Nathaniel. You could call me Hammer or Nathaniel. They're both equally dumb names. So how can we help you today? What's going on?
Um, well, I feel like me and my partner have been stuck in this cycle of pretty explosive fights. But I really care about this person. I know they're very reasonable. I love their family. But I'm finding that we, over little small things like laundry baskets, tend to blow up into bigger things. And so I'm having issues knowing how to navigate that without maybe some counseling, but my partner is not so comfortable with a third party intervening.
There's a lot of fear that some people might have in going because they're afraid somebody's going to pick a side and it might not be their side, or that the advice might be to break up. I have some
Totally.
advice
Yeah.
on that and how to make people more comfortable with the idea of marriage counseling and therapists, and we also have our friend Paige, who's a licensed marriage therapist, and we've talked to her about some things. But how long have you two been together?
So I said 8 years in the post, but it's actually been closer to 10 years. We're high school sweethearts.
Awesome. Well, to be fair, I did not read the post. That was our producer Zaz. I like to go in and just talk to you. He finds interesting
Oh, well, perfect.
problems and people who need help, and he does that. So, high school sweethearts, 10 years.
Yeah, I just want to jump in. I mean, we you spoke about this, but in regards to I mean, I wanted to hear more about that, like contextually wise. Is this where kind of the end all be all? Like, is the laundry basket the avatar of the situation? Basically, any issues with that, or is it just with this piece?
You mean just this one
Yeah.
incident, or
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
think
I
that's a
think
good
Jamie.
question. Um, and something that I was thinking about of like, is this more of like a fed up moment? And um, because something as small as the thing that happened was I bought a couple of laundry baskets so we could start doing our laundry separately because it was a chore that was overwhelming me on top of
Okay.
some other things.
Yeah,
And we
that's
didn't really
fair.
discuss it. It was a passive aggressive move on my part because I didn't address it or talk about it. And I think that was more the conflicting moment was that lack of communication. And it blew up into a moment where he's then yelling and hitting his car and screaming in his car. And I think I'm
Oh,
scared to bring up these things because it gets to such an explosive moment. And I, I don't know. I think that's where I get stuck. And it's like, we do get to a point where it's like, I care for you. I don't want to fight like this. But then I'm literally scared to bring up such a small thing about a laundry basket because I know it leads into a door is going to get punched or his car is going to get punched or I'm going to get yelled at.
I was going on the whole thing that you guys are just together so long that you're having, like a lot of petty arguments, and then the getting into he doesn't necessarily need marriage counseling, but he needs anger management counseling. If he's throwing fists or so angry to the point you're afraid to be near him or talk to him, that's something he's going to have to deal with his own therapist. Couples counseling might get him to a therapist, but he has to go. It's not an option. It's
Yeah.
also going to get worse. Going untreated, whatever is setting him off, it's not necessarily relationship based, but he's having problem directing his anger or managing it in a respectful way towards every
Yeah.
himself and everybody around him. Is he
It's
willing to
hard
do
to say.
therapy, or
That's the problem. He has tried in the past. As a kid, it was Christian counseling, and it just did not go very well. And then a few years ago, he met with a therapist, had like 5 sessions. It was going good. And the therapist legitimately like ghosted him. Like it was a bad session. Joe came in pretty frustrated, but wasn't yelling or doing anything crazy. It just didn't go very well, ended early, and never contacted Joe again. And he was just like, I'm never doing that again, basically. So that's where it ended. And I feel like I'm at a turning point where
Wow.
I maybe really need to consider my position in this relationship.
Yeah. If he's not going for help, and I don't necessarily say you throw it as him as a me or therapy. You lose me, or I don't know if you can throw that ultimatum at him, but he has to want to go, and he
Yeah.
has to realize he has a problem, and maybe the only way he's going to realize that this problem is as big as it is if you leave. And I'm not. I never say that stuff lightly, especially for as long as you guys have been together. That's nothing to throw away, and I don't want to
No, it
throw
feels
that out there,
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to think about for sure.
but what I want to say here is you are important here. Your safety, your mental well-being, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to not be afraid of your partner. This might be the thing that gives you what you want if he is not going to go to therapy, even if he has to go through 3 more therapists till he finds the one. If he's not going to go through that for you, you might have to put the work in yourself in making yourself happy. And I'm not going to make that
Can
decision
I
for you, but I don't
can
know.
I step in for one
Yeah.
second and just understand that therapists are all different, right? Just like
Yeah.
doctors are all different, any kind of medical practitioner is different. These are one of those things that he had one bad experience. We've all had. I mean, everybody here has had a bad experience with a therapist or doctor or
Medical
etc.
professional or
Yeah, I
Totally.
mean,
Yeah,
maybe,
absolutely.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest, they're people, they're humans, they're fallible. So maybe at some point, if he can't find another one that he's comfortable with, then lay out maybe some others in the area, that are options as well. I mean, it's one of those things where you just look at it and you go, okay, this person did this one thing, and I understand, it's bad, it's a bad situation, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. You don't want to go back to it. But at the end of the day, I mean, you want the solution, you want some help, and
Yeah.
there are plenty of people out there who will reach out and do the same thing. So it's a struggle, but I mean, it's we've like
yeah.
I said, we've all been trying to find that one person who can hear our voice and say, oh,
Yeah.
I get what you need, and then they give it to you, and then you can have that conversation and know, you know, what's the word for it? Hurry, I guess is the for lack of a better
Yeah.
term. There's no hurry for it. You're just like, just listen to me, just be quiet and listen to me, and that's what I think really.
Well, I think with Jamie here, it's you're
Definitely.
communicating to him how badly you need this and how badly not having it is hurting you. And I don't mean in the middle of an argument. I mean sit down, like I said, maybe that nice dinner place and go, I'm in a lot of pain because you're not managing this. And you need to try again because it is hurting me to the point where I'm considering leaving. Where I'm not just threatening you right now. I'm hurting and I need you to fix it. Let him know
Mm,
how bad you're hurting. Not in an argument, not over, something else that happened, but just sit down and have the conversation in a conversation level of what you do is impacting my life in a very negative way. And I need you to work on this because this is not going to work going forward. Find
or
ways to
just
get through to him. And I don't know if you've done that. Have you?
No, I haven't. I think I struggle to find the words or to like shame his anger or I it's really I don't know. It's hard to express. I think that's a really good way to put it though, exactly how you framed it is how I need to say it of this is hurting me and like we need like this needs to change kind of thing.
Yeah, let him
Um
know you're hurting. And if he gets mad at you telling him that you're being hurt, that's more, of more stuff to put in the woodpile of this might not work out because you're just explaining
yeah.
that you're hurting and his first instinct should be to make you feel better. And I think if you, again, not during a fight, because during a fight, words and attitudes and feelings change. During a good meal,
100%. Yeah.
yeah, just hey,
I know he's very prideful, so I know telling him that he's not managing his anger is going to be delicate for sure.
don't tell him he's
Yeah,
not managing his anger. Saying what he is doing is hurting you, and he needs help. And
Hmm.
then if he wants to spin it into she's telling me I'm not managing it, well, that's fine. But what you said is it's hurting me, and you need to get help.
the one thing
Yeah, I
to
think you're right.
point out as well is she's using the word we a lot, which is fantastic. Like the word we
Yeah,
meaning like when you go to look for a solution, and you said prideful, is when you do these things, going together as a unit, be like, hey, listen, we need to address this together. We've been together for so long. Let's go into this together. So that way, if he's uncomfortable or you, I mean, because you might be uncomfortable as well, right? When you find that,
Hmm.
solution. So going together, I mean, make this a commitment between you guys. So that way you have your rules and this new person, if, like you said, they talked to this counselor, was this a solo thing when he talked to the counselor?
It was a solo thing, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe together, like, go in and go like, listen, you and I, we're solid. We're a pact. We're going to go into this together. So that way we never find,
yeah,
uh, fun person number two, so that way if this guy
Right.
gets or girl this person gets south,
yeah.
you guys going together and be like, we're gonna figure this out together because we're
It,
soldiers. And
that's a really good point, Zess. Yeah. Um, if
Yeah.
to make sure it's open ended, you can go
yeah,
if wanted. You will go if wanted. If he doesn't want you there, doesn't want you for all the sessions, you're fine sitting back. But every step of the way that he needs you, you could be there.
And if he refuses, I mean,
You
is
have
this
to make the
like an
call
ending?
then, because it's not going
Yeah.
to get better, and you're not going to be happy with how you're treated. It's not going to change. You're not going to suddenly like being treated like that or being afraid of him hurting himself or property or you, and you're going to have to make the call. I would, my advice would be to get out at that point, and
Yeah.
maybe that's the thing he needs to take it seriously enough to get help, and maybe down the road and all these things, but you deserve to be happy. You can try as hard as you want with him, and if he pushes back, you have to take the fact that he didn't want that help. He didn't want to stop hurting you that way. So,
first step first step is going together.
first
Come
step is
in with a
trying.
list. Yeah,
I know you
going
have.
together.
I know you've talked about
Yeah,
it, but make your final plan like this has to work out
Yeah.
and we have to try. But you don't have to give him the ultimatum. You have to say if this doesn't, you're gone. But just in your mind, you know what your plan is. I talk to him. If he listens to me, if he goes to get help, I stay and we do everything we can. We'll spend every penny if we have to help him. And if he says no, if he gets mad, if he runs away, if he refuses, it's not getting better
Yeah.
because you've done everything
I
you can.
really
You've tried every tactic.
I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk this out. It's hard I don't really talk to any of my family members or close friends about this because I don't want to frame my partner as like some rage monster or
And
someone that's unreasonable
no,
because I see many parts of him and there's many parts to people. And I know that this is from him struggling more than anything
yeah,
and not from a
the
place
fact
of,
that
hate.
Jamie, I'm going to say this directly to you. It's like the fact that he went to somebody shows that he wants to do the right thing, And again, I don't know the full
Yeah.
context of the situation. And I'm only saying that, purely because, obviously we're just four people on a conversation. But I mean, he did the first step. He did take the first step. And
I
that
think he
person, I
might
mean,
again.
I'm going to go back to it. Some people, you reach out to for help and they're just not the right solution.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
If he's frustrated with them, I'm going to stand in that going, I've been there. I've looked at, some people for help and they've just not been the right solution.
Yeah,
But you
I went
get
through
back on the
four.
horse. Sorry, I want to hear Hammer
No, I
complete the
went through
sentence.
four primary care physicians before I found one that worked well with me. That's
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is a lot. Yeah.
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 I didn't like
So
them. I didn't like how they responded. I didn't like that they didn't listen or didn't take notes and remember like all kinds of little
yeah,
things. But I needed somebody who worked well with me, and he will too. It's like a
yeah.
relationship, dating.
You
Like
guys,
yeah,
you guys are in a long relationship together and it's awesome. I would just say, if he doesn't want to go solo again, just remember you're his cohort, like you're his
Yeah.
Bonnie to his Clyde, go in together and be like, listen, fine, then I'll go with you and sit down. And if this person isn't the solution, we'll find another one.
Yeah. Just I'm in your corner. I will work with you and for you
Yeah.
as long as you're working on it.
But exactly, that's the key. As long as you're working on it. Yeah.
And we did have a
Yeah.
question in chat
100%.
here in our on our stream chat, and I will get to you, Ashant one. I don't want to bring it up here just because it's a
No, no,
separate
no.
thought. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to address it live.
So,
And
yeah.
Jamie, feel free to write and let me know how it's going. Feel free to call in next week. Whatever you need to talk, type. Obviously, this is the best way to talk. But if you want to just type things, ask questions, or let us know how it's going, it doesn't have to end with this phone call. I want to encourage you both ways, whatever direction you have to go. You have someone here to talk to that doesn't believe he's a rage monster and doesn't believe he's evil and can't be saved. I'm hoping he wants to help.
Thanks, Hammer. I really appreciate that. Truly, I do. That
I
really means a
appreciate
lot.
you calling in and trusting us. Do you have anything you wanted to just? I mean, I want to make sure I've addressed anything you need to talk about.
No, I feel I have a lot to think about, but I feel better equipped on how to address the issue at hand rather than just feeling like utterly overwhelmed and stuck in a cycle. Because I think when you're just in that place and you're in something for 10 years, sometimes it's hard to
Yeah.
step outside and see clearly and like know what the solution is, even though it's so simple. And like even when you both want the same exact thing, it's very frustrating when you can't get there for some reason and there's like a block. So
Yeah.
I think this is just one of those things, and I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. Relationships are work, and I love this
Yeah,
person to want to work it out, but I also know that it's getting to a point where my mental health is being affected, so I need to really
yeah,
think
you
seriously about
do.
that too.
Yeah, and you can't put it all on you. It's not. Like a lot of people tend to think that a relationship doesn't work out is somebody failed, your relationship
Yeah.
failed, and that's not it. That's not how it works. You've put a lot of work, 10 years. You've put a lot of work in, from
Yeah.
kids to
Oh
real
yeah.
adults. So it's not a failure. Sometimes things don't work out, and I don't necessarily think you're there. I think and I hope that when you talk to him, he's gonna hear you. He's gonna hear the girl he's loved all these years, and he's gonna want to make things better for everybody. I believe that. Might not
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet, I would bet money on it honestly, but sometimes it's hard for people to realize that how bad they do need the help and what they need to do, and it sucks. It's a failure of humans to
You
see
don't even,
themselves for who they are. But
it's just something we don't realize. I mean, you're going in. I mean, especially when you're in a long relationship, you don't realize some of the things that you're doing. It might be, just a fight is a fight is a fight, but at the end of the day, it's like you have to have somebody kind of go, hey, hey, and shake you a little bit. And
mhm,
it's like you said, prideful. I mean, that's one of those things where you're like, it takes somebody to just snap you out of it and go, I didn't realize I needed somebody to tell me. And
Yeah.
that's one of those. Yeah, we've all been there, honestly, Jamie. We've all been there. It's whether it be, I know it's escalated high so much to the point where we're looking for help, but I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we've all been like, in a car and somebody cut you off and you're like, ah, you freak out. And these are just
Yeah,
little,
for sure.
I know. And it's just, what we do at the end of the day is we kind of adjust and adjust and adjust. And with this one, I would say, going, I mean, personally going with a partner,
yeah,
knock
if
this
you
out of the
can, if
Yeah.
park.
he's comfortable with it, that's the one thing I do want
If
to
he's,
stress.
yeah, again,
But
I'm,
you can help him find the places. I think if you actually use the line, I will work with you and work for you as much or as little as you need me to. I'm here for you.
Thank
I
you.
want to
That's
help
really
us
nice.
fix
Oh my
this.
gosh. Thank you.
Yeah. Jamie, I'm gonna go, but I do want to hear back from you, and I will
yeah.
respond to
Okay.
anything you send to me.
Yeah, make sure you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, please reply to us like in the Reddit like post, and if need be, I'm Zazzer Zuz. Hammer's got Hammer on the Discord, and we'll follow up.
That's easy to remember. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much, and hope you have a good night.
I hope you have a peaceful
You
night.
too.
Keep kicking ass.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Take care, Jamie.
I did want to address the comment we had in the chat here that proud men have a hard time admitting one's faults. If he can confide in his own, what makes you think he can confide in a therapist? I absolutely believe that people who can't talk to their wives, or very close, intimate partners about things will confide in others. It's some guys talk to their best friends about stuff they would never talk to their wives about. Some
Yeah.
guys talk to complete strangers about stuff their friends don't know about. The way that people communicate and how they communicate out is very different every relationship. So yeah, I believe that a guy who doesn't tell his wife how he's truly feeling and what he's thinking about can go to his therapist and absolutely open up, because there's different stakes in that relationship. There's different thoughts. He's not worried about what the therapist is going to say or think about him as much as his wife. There's stuff he
That's
wants.
why I jumped
Yeah.
in, and it was nothing that you were saying was incorrect. It was just, we always have like different mindsets of the way we do things. And it was, for me personally, it was that, once she said that he reached out to somebody
That he
and he
tried
felt
once,
it was
yeah.
like he tried once and it was the wrong solution. Immediately, I was like, oh my God. Like, it was like, as anger issues reside, he did want to get help. And that wasn't the right solution. It wasn't that he wasn't the
Yeah.
problem. He didn't feel that was the right solution. So it was like, okay, hold on a second. We've all been there. Like, we've all, and again, I keep going back to, you sit in traffic and somebody cuts you off. I mean, I know it's a ridiculous statement, but it's like, it does happen where you just lash out for that brief moment. And you go, okay, how do I handle this? And you talk to a friend and they say, well, you should have an XYZ. And then you talk to another friend and they say something completely different. A doctor was another way I put that. You said you went through 4 practitioners. And
Yeah.
that was like one of those things. It was like, that's exactly the point that I was trying to make, was these are the same people. They're trying to diagnose a certain way. Maybe this person spoke poorly. Maybe they didn't just get what he was saying. Maybe it was just a bad day. Who knows?
Yeah, he
But
went
for
in hot
Pete's sake, this
apparently, and
person went to get help, and the person didn't fit in correctly. So what I'm trying to say is, you know what? If that doesn't work, if point B, Bill didn't work, let's go to Adam. And if Adam doesn't work, then we go in together. It's Bonnie and Clyde. They've been together for 10 years. Let's knock this out together. Because, again, at the end of the day, she wants this to work. He wants this to work. So she said we several times. Obviously, they want this.
listen, she came off as somebody who cares more about her relationship than probably most everything else in her life, except for,
Yeah.
rightfully so, her own well-being. So, and to that point, I bet she's risked a lot of that in what she's dealt with and the fear she's lived with. I think if he knows he's truly hurting her, maybe he doesn't ever throw a fist near her. He's hurting her. She's feeling bad. Oh, we got another caller.
We got a
I
call.
think. Yeah, we got another call.